A Bentonville photographer is in jail tonight after police say he was arrested in connection to child sexual abuse material. 5 News reporter Bo Russell explains why investigators are now asking for concerned families to come forward.
Bentonville police say 43-year-old photographer Russell Edward Bloodworth was arrested after a cyber tip pointed police to child sexual abuse material being generated online using Grok AI.
We've gathered up a lot of evidence that the Bentonville Police Department are in the middle of processing their way through.
Bloodworth runs Russell Bloodworth Photography.
Because of the nature of this case, they want to make sure that if anyone has had contact with him or has had photography done and they're concerned about their children, we give them an avenue to go forward.
Investigators are asking anyone who used Bloodworth Photography and is concerned their family's photos may have been used to contact Bentonville police.
I hope deep down in my heart that we don't recognize a lot of victims in the county, but at the same time we've got to be thorough. We've got to make sure that if anybody does have a concern, that concern's addressed.
Benton County Prosecutor Brian Sexton says his office has not made a final charging decision yet because the investigation is still new and ongoing.
We're going to continue to let the facts take us where we're supposed to be going in this particular case, but it's important for us to make sure that we make sure the community knows if they got a concern, here's where they need to go.
Bo Russell, 5 News.
Bentonville police say anyone who is a client of Bloodworth Photography and has any concerns should call their non-emergency line you see right there on your screen or contact the email address there at the bottom of your screen that is digital.forensics@bentonville.ar.gov. Well, tonight we're hearing from the Fort Smith Fire Chief about the decision to eliminate 7 positions from the department. Fire Chief Daryl Clark says it was one of the hardest decisions that he's had to make. In the 2025 annual fire department report, he said 7 months ago the department eliminated 3 driver positions, 3 firefighter positions, and 1 administrative battalion chief position by closing Pumper 11.
We're watching our response times, monitoring that, and because out there that is also geographically a large district that they have. So it's a little further response for the next in units to come in if they're already on a call, but we're monitoring all that.
He says the cuts helped the department meet its financial goals in the short term, and as the city continues to grow, he says he expects those positions will be eventually reinstated. Well, Bass Pro Shops gave away more than 100 fishing rods and reels to local youth groups today. These donations are part of an effort to donate more than 55,000 rods and reels to youth centers all across the country. Organizers say it's about getting kids outside and creating lasting memories.
I believe my favorite part of this event is just being able to see the joy on kids' faces when they get something they can use and utilize for many years to come.
Rogers and Fort Smith Bass Pro Shops will also host a free kids catch and release fishing event. That'll be June 13th and 14th and June 20th and 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Early voting is underway for Oklahoma's primary with Election Day next Tuesday. Voters can cast ballots early again tomorrow from 8 to 6 and Saturday from 8 to 2 at early voting sites. And just a reminder, Oklahoma does have closed primaries. A valid ID is also required at check-in. You can find a list of all the early voting sites on the State Election Board website. Well, a fire truck caught fire at a car lot today in Crawford County. This is video Sheriff Daniel Perry shared with 5 News. Crews were called to the lot off Alma Highway right across from the Crawford County Justice Center. Sheriff Perry says the fire was out by about 9:30 this morning, under control at least, and the fire appeared to start near the truck's brakes. No injuries were reported. Well, jury selection continued today in Fayetteville for Casey Jennings' capital murder case. Jennings is accused of killing his ex-girlfriend Allison Castro. He was arrested in 2022 and charged with capital murder, abuse of a corpse, and evidence tampering. Prosecutors say they expect opening statements to begin next week. A legal challenge to Arkansas's controversial library laws back in court. Attorneys for libraries, booksellers, and advocacy groups argued before a federal appeals court over Act 372. Supporters say the law helps protect children from inappropriate material, while opponents argue it could lead to censorship and punish librarians for just doing their jobs.
We thought librarians shouldn't be worried about going to jail for books that were in the library.
The appeals court will now decide whether to uphold a lower court ruling that blocked parts of the law. President Trump says he's canceling strikes against Iran that were planned for tonight. He indicated it's because the U.S. and Iran are negotiating the final points of a deal. Iranian officials have not confirmed those claims. The developments come 100 days after U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran began. Since then, gas prices have climbed about 40% as disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz have affected global oil markets.
While the market may believe this right now, there's still pressure building in the backdrop that if a deal doesn't land, there is more and more pressure every day that the strait remains closed.
Even if a deal is finalized, experts say it could take a while before drivers see gas prices come back down to normal. But there has been some progress at the pump. AAA says gas prices have fallen for a third week. The statewide average for regular is now $3.74 per gallon. That's 12 cents less than last week, but almost $1 more than this time last year. While the national average is still sitting at $4.12 a gallon, that's down from $4.56 in the span of only 3 weeks. Well, the man charged with assassinating the top Democrat in the Minnesota House of Representatives and her husband pleaded guilty today in federal court. Vance Belter entered the plea after prosecutors agreed not to pursue the death penalty. He was also charged with shooting a state senator and his wife, who both survived. In both attacks last June, prosecutors say Belter ambushed the victims by showing up at their homes disguised as a police officer.
Those that would commit political violence at any level should take heed. The Department of Justice will seek and obtain the longest prison terms available for your crimes.
Under the plea with prosecutors, Belter will receive 2 life sentences plus 40 years. He also faces state charges.